Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. This week we did Cool Hand Luke, 1967 crime drama film. I'm Dylan, and joining me, as always, is Cam, Ben, and Zach.
Hi.
There he is. The only one that says hi.
I was explicitly
going,
told
man.
not to say hi anymore.
I was also explicitly told not to say hi anymore. Cam is dealing with something over there.
You know what I'm dealing with? I'm dealing with
COVID.
That yee ass haircut.
You know what? I love Taco Bell, but there is nothing worse than bad Taco Bell. Like if you get it and they fuck it
I
all
don't know,
up,
man. I've had Long John Silver's.
it's bad. It's bad. So I'm dealing with some bad Taco Bell, but not in the poop your brains out kind, just in the very disappointed in my soul kind.
Oh, okay, just the depression kind.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
You know what the cure for that is? More Taco Bell.
I got three
Yeah, you gotta give
things,
it
right?
Go, get back on the horse.
Well, so I originally wanted to get two things. They were out of both. So I got three other things. Cheesy Gordita Crunch was decent enough. Crunchwrap Supreme didn't take the tomatoes off, and it was like all fucked up in the bag, and like half of it was like spilled out of the thing, and one of the edges was like missing. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
See, that's the
final
issue with
thing.
the way. Oh, go ahead.
Beef burrito, and it had fucking beans in it. It's not supposed to have beans. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's bad. 2 out of 10.
So, can I just go back to your first point and say, how do you as Taco Bell run out of things on your menu? Most all of them are the same shit.
Exactly.
It's all
exactly.
the same shit. Just cooked a different way in the tortilla.
one of them was like a nacho fry burrito, which they had on their app. So I was like, oh, cool. And they didn't have it. And then I ordered a quesarito, and they're like, we don't have that. Like, what the fuck? How do you not have a quesarito? It's rice and ground beef, and then you roll it up, and you put cheese in it, and that's it. Like, I don't. These fucking guys.
See, this is the issue with Gen X and the boomers fucking up our economy, is that now they all have these fast food jobs, and they fucking suck at it. They're terrible.
They're just not detail oriented, you know?
Yeah, they really need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps and get better.
To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's cocktail. It's not related to Taco Bell in any way. The cocktail we chose for this week is a whiskey sour. Really, we were kind of trying to connect stuff like with what they're eating and drinking in the movie. And so there's the infamous egg scene in this movie where Luke eats 50 eggs in under an hour.
Why you gotta say 50 eggs, Luke?
Couldn't have been 35. So the OG whiskey sour recipe dates way back to like Lincoln's administration, and its first printed recipe appears in Jerry Thomas's Bartender's Guide in 1862. Today you can see it without an egg white, but the recipe goes 2 ounces of bourbon, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, ½ ounce of simple syrup, and a ½ ounce of egg white. But I'm not gonna measure out my egg white, so I just put one in there from my eggs. I don't know.
I measured.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fancy schmancy.
Felt bougie.
And then you garnish it. You throw a couple of Angostura dashes on there, and then you're supposed to like swirl them together with a toothpick if you're being fancy in a coupe glass.
This is a great opportunity to kind of reach back into the Cocktails and Classics archive where we used to tell people to shake their drink every time. Now, you need to incorporate 2 separate shakes into this drink. You have to do a dry shake with your egg white, and then add your ice and your the rest of your ingredients in the wet shake or the standard shake.
I've never had this before.
You never had a whiskey sour?
No, I've done because I never really go to whiskey. You know, it's not my cup of tea.
I like whiskey sours. I made the poor man's version and just did like sweet and sour mixed whiskey and then a cherry on top, which is decent. I mean, if you go to like a dive bar and ask for a whiskey sour, this is probably what you're gonna get. And it's not bad, honestly. Like, it's pretty sweet. I mean, I'm sure it's not as good as like, you know, the real whiskey sour, but
No, I'm trying to figure out, is it if you go to most bars, they're going to give you a whiskey sour with no egg white, or do I only go to dive bars?
well, so what I mean is like there's probably varying levels. Like I think if you go to a nicer bar, but not like, a bougie bar, they probably won't give you an egg white. But I don't know if it's like
is
sweet and sour
Stinger's a
mix
bougie bar?
specifically. No.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if
I'm
they're
sure
gonna
you
do
could
sweet
probably-
and sour mix specifically. They might do like lemon juice and stuff.
I've gotten
which
whiskey
is like,
sours, I think, at Rick's. Do you think they use egg whites? I'm going to guess they don't.
No, I don't think
Rick's
those,
with the
I don't
$2
think-
Bud Lights, right?
Yeah, and also like the $3 whiskey sour.
Probably no.
I think
probably
that
no egg
they're.
white.
I think they're probably using sweet and sour mix, but I could be wrong.
I'm going to 100% say that they use sweet and sour
Yeah,
mix.
it comes out of a certain.
I know they also have like they have like foaming agents, like little like almost like Kool-Aid packets that you like would pour out
Oh.
into like a glass, and you would like shake that with the other ingredients, and it'll get you like your
Interesting.
sour with like some foam. Or you could use like, if you're vegan, you can use aquafaba, which is like the liquid that comes in a can of chickpeas. Just make sure it's not like pre-salted or anything. That's like a big egg replacement in like cocktails, because it'll like foam up. Because if you've ever opened like if you ever like shaken a can of chickpeas and then opened it up, you've noticed it's like super foamy on the inside. But obviously you might get a
Done.
little chickpea flavor.
Shaking up a shit ton of chickpeas in my day.
Well, the vegans
I
don't know.
exactly
They don't know
what
what the
you're
hell
talking
eggs
about.
taste like, anyways.
But I like whiskey sours. I think they're a pretty good go-to if you go to like a cheaper bar and you don't want to, and you want to get something really cheap, but you want to mask the flavor of the well whiskey that you're about to drink. So I think a whiskey sour is a great option for that.
Yeah, I was surprised how lemony this is. I feel like it is like, obviously whiskey sour. I was like, okay, it'll be a little sour, It tastes like I'm drinking like a lemon. Like I can barely really
Interesting.
taste the bourbon. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
get
I
a
do
lot
think
of bourbon up front.
Yeah, I
or
think
really
the
throughout any of it, but
sour mix really cuts the bourbon flavor a lot. Like I said, great for hiding cheap whiskey. There was a website I was reading and it was like, get the best bourbon you can for this. I was like, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think
disagree.
so.
Yeah,
It's
I
like, I
don't know.
don't-
If I was going to use a nice bourbon, which I mean, I used this bottled and bond one I got. I would probably use that for like an old fashioned,
Right. Yeah.
Something that like highlights the bourbon more so than this, which I feel like highlights just the what it becomes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is a the sum of its parts drink. You don't need to have the strong individual performance here. This is
Great
the
black
04
velvet drink.
Pistons. This is the 04 Pistons of cocktails, right? Like
Yeah.
everything comes together and works well, but there's not really like a superstar.
It's like getting a Long Island and then insisting that they put like Grey Goose and like all that other stuff, like all the top tier stuff in there. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not gonna, it doesn't
I was
matter.
You want
I
the
was at an
you want the
Applebee's
president's
once.
margarita? No,
And-
I'll
Presidente
just take the
margarita?
bottom. Yeah,
This
I'll
person
take the
that-
bottom shelf one. Thanks.
This person at Applebee's specifically requested if it was like a fucking like pineapple mojito, if they could cut back on the pineapple in it, and also they wanted it with top shelf because they needed it to be stronger than like the regular. And I'm like, you realize they
Stronger?
send them mixes, right? They just send them mixes.
Oh, really? Is that what they do at Applebee's?
I very much doubt they're sitting there mixing their pineapple mojito sour mix.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant that they pre-mixed them. I was like,
No,
with
no.
alcohol.
I'm sure they
Okay.
have like the whatever.
They microwave
syrup
the
mix.
alcoholic drinks too. Also, what's top shelf at Applebee's? Like Smirnoff?
Oh,
A
yeah.
brand name probably,
I don't know.
not
I was-
pop off.
I was fine
Pop-off
with
is
my.
just as good as everything else.
I was fine with my fucking cheap ass liquor in it. So
I mean, I feel like that's what. That's fine. That's great. Like I feel like that's what you get at Applebee's. You don't get top shelf Smirnoff
Well,
there.
but
you
also
know?
they're like, I want it to be stronger, so give me the top shelf. But like, it's the same.
It's the
ABV.
same alcohol percentage.
Well, they asked for it was. Oh, sorry. They asked for it to be a double, but it also had to be top shelf. I was in shock. Like, who the fuck goes to Applebee's and is sitting there trying to act like they're gonna get bartending at like some fine some sort of like fucking mixology.
Isn't Applebee's the place where they're doing the Dugarita, or is that Red Lobster?
That doesn't sound
I
familiar.
think it's Applebee's.
The dude behind the bar is like, dog, I'm 19. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
But he does. You know he does. You know.
I mean, he might know, but he's
He
not
learned how
like
to
he doesn't
make
have bartending skills. He's like,
he learned
how
how
can
to
I
make a
mix
shark
Bacardi
attack
with
for all
Coke?
of his friends that lived in the off-campus apartments.
Right. Exactly.
It is Red Lobster that does the Dugarita.
Oh, okay. I don't
Sounds
know
like
what that is.
Diarrhea.
It's a Mountain Dew margarita.
Ew.
You would drink it. Don't say ew.
Okay,
Two
no.
of your
say
food
it.
groups.
Unpopular opinion. I do not like Mountain
I'm surprised
Dew.
that's not at Taco
I
Bell.
don't
to be
like
honest.
Mountain
Same.
Dew.
Like,
I don't like Mountain Dew. I don't think it's such an extreme soda beverage to me.
Because it reduces your sperm
it is
count.
extreme.
No, because it tastes so fucking weird.
Do the
Like, it's
do.
just such a weird flavor for a beverage, and I
Maybe,
just don't
man.
like it.
It tastes totally like natural flavors.
I'm surprised Taco Bell hasn't offered that. You know what, though? If you go to the Taco Bell cantinas, they probably do have Baja Blast
They do.
alcoholic freezes. But I don't know if they're with tequila. They might be with rum.
Zach and I spent a lovely weekend in Cleveland together.
Yeah, you can choose.
Glizzy.
Where we got some nice Mountain Dew freezes,
I
alcoholic.
did.
yeah.
There was walked by that movie theater and that guy yelled that thing at that other guy.
Yeah, that was really interesting. So you can check the show notes below. Make your
See, we brought Taco Bell into the convo.
Have
It came
fun
back.
editing this one.
We're definitely
The
not
Taco
getting
Bell
an
reference
Applebee's,
came back.
Taco Bell. So many sponsorships
Hey,
out the window.
if any of those want to sponsor us, hit us up. Applebee's, we will record an episode at your bar.
We will record while
Check the show
eating
notes.
good in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Is that still the thing they say?
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
If
Not a
Applebee's
sponsor.
offered us an ad, I would refuse. I will not
Whoa.
advertise.
All right, we have to vote
Fuck
about
you.
that.
Okay. All right. Kim has standards.
I
Okay.
guess we have to find a new fourth.
If you're not going to sell out, then get out.
Yeah,
We're gonna
if your
start
morality's
all
your
these
morality is
episodes
not
as
for sale,
NFTs.
why are you here? You shouldn't have a podcast.
Why go to Applebee's? You have a microwave in your own home. You know?
Yeah, but I can't get a
Can't get
pineapple
mango
mojito with slightly
mojito
less.
that's- or pineapple
With
Pineapple
mojito.
and top
and
shelf.
double the top shelf liquor.
Check the show notes below. Make yourself a whiskey sour. Use the caskers. Use the caskers and drizzly links. Buy yourself some alcohol. Have it shipped directly to your door, and we get a little kickback from that. You can watch the movie now on HBO Max because we're going to spoil it. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. Come back. Cool Hand Luke is a 1967 crime drama directed by Stuart Rosenberg, written by Don Pierce, Frank Pearson, and Hal Dresner. It stars Paul Newman, George Kennedy, Strother Martin. It also has Clifton James, who Ben knows apparently.
All right, Cameron,
Dennis
you watched,
Hopper.
You watched the James Bond movies, right?
Some of them, yeah. Fair amount of them.
Have you seen which fucking two was he in? Was it Man with the Golden Gun?
I don't know.
What, you've
Who
never
is it?
seen Man with the Golden Gun or
I don't
Live and
think
Let
I have.
Die?
Maybe I've seen that one, but I don't remember. It's been a while.
The
if I
fucking
have.
old, like the old timey Southern sheriff.
Oh, okay. Is he the guy that comes in? He's in a bunch. Is that the guy in a bunch of James Bond movies? Is it the same character, like over and over?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The fucking sheriff that's constantly in the car chases.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if I've seen those or remember that from those era of movies, but I know the character from future movies.
He's the guy that walks up and down the floor.
Oh, okay.
Harry Dean Stanton is in it. Dennis Hopper. Joe Van Fleet.
Wayne Rogers, who famously played Trapper John McIntyre on MASH. Dylan's gonna ignore it just because he hasn't fucking seen it, but a lot of people like that show, so I'm gonna keep the MASH references alive.
Joe, no relation to Greta.
Boo.
Cool Hand Luke is the story of a laid-back Southern man who's sentenced to 2 years in a rural prison but refuses to conform. It won 1 Oscar, was nominated for 3. It won Best Actor in a Supporting Role for George Kennedy. It was nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role, Paul Newman, Best Writing, Best Music, Original Score. And it currently sits at number 216 on IMDb's Top 250 at an 8.1 out of 10.
Do we know what it lost to, the Best Actor nomination? It's always interesting to see what it lost to.
It lost to...
Was it Sidney Poitier for
In the Heat of the
Night?
Nope, Rod Steiger for Heat of the Night. In the Heat of the Night.
Really?
Dustin Hoffman was also nominated
The
that year for Graduate.
Boo.
Um,
Boo, weird movie.
Spencer Tracy for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and Warren Beatty for Bonnie and Clyde.
Is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner the...
Also, Sidney Poitier, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, okay, all right. I was wondering if it was the... Okay, yeah.
It's the one that Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac remade. Yeah, you can say it. It's okay.
That I don't think that's what he was referencing to, but I think he was trying to say that it was the one where the girl brings her black boyfriend to
Right.
dinner. Yes.
At that time when that movie was made, interracial marriage was still illegal in 17 states.
You're thinking of Get Out.
No, I mean, yes, but no.
None of us had seen this movie, correct?
That is correct. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben's seen parts of it?
Ben?
maybe?
I've seen, like, it was when I was young. This was one of those movies that I feel like, for the brief time we got HBO, like, was one of those things that, like, if it was on, my dad would turn it on. It's like, I feel like I've seen probably most of it, but I was pretty young. Like, I remember Luke going in the box. I think I remember the first escape where he cuts through the floor. And I remember, what the hell's the other? I know I'd seen the failure to communicate and the ending. Like, I've seen, I know I remember parts of it. I just don't think I remembered the entire movie, but I'd seen it before.
I don't know how I've seen it, but I feel like I vaguely recall the scene where he's, like, constantly digging the ditch and filling it in, like, over and over again. I don't know why. But when I saw that, I was like, I feel like I've seen this one before.
I think you're thinking of Holes.
You know, I was going to ask if this is just Holes.
Or Shawshank, maybe.
If this is just Holes, but 40
No.
years before Holes.
Working on this side of the road builds character.
This movie is definitely. We always reference that Leo meme, but I felt like that in this one. Where I was like, especially what we have here is a failure to communicate. I was like, this is what's that's from this? What?
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, there's the quote where it was like, just because you call it your job doesn't make it right or something, which is fairly popular, but the failure to communicate one, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that came from this movie.
Really made popular by Major Payne, though.
Oh my god.
Sure.
I didn't realize Paul Newman was in Slapshot, too.
He's the
Yeah,
star.
he's the lead.
He's a small character.
I mean, I've never seen Slapshot, but I've heard of it.
He's the coach/player.
Player coach.
You want to talk about movies that couldn't get made today?
I mean, personally, I was kind of drawing similarities to like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Holes.
And Holes.
One Flew Over the
just-
Cuckoo's Nest makes sense, I think. Kind
Just
of?
kind of purely based, like, I don't know, like it's a story of someone who like is sent into this like institution. He's kind of fighting the rules, and he thinks that if like he can fight the rules enough, like he can get out or get away or like.
So, I spent a while trying to figure out what this movie is even like about. You know, like it wasn't clear to me like what the story was they were trying to tell. I thought it was an interesting movie. I think it's just the plot is so weird because he's like the premise is, you know, they're like, oh, he got sent to jail. But he got sent to jail for some random thing he just decided to do because he was just like basically bored in life. It seemed like he was just like cutting the heads off parking meters or
drunk.
whatever. I mean, yes, but like,
And don't forget the throwaway line. He was, quote, settling a score.
interesting.
What that means, who knows? But it's all
Yeah.
explained thanks to one throwaway line. Plot armor.
I do think that his character's pretty interesting just because it seemed like through the conversation with his mother that like he had like a decent-ish life at some point in time. Like it seemed like he was going to be a decent, you know, have a decent life. And then at some point he just decided like, fuck it, you know, like.
Yeah, like his problems in life are his own.
Right.
In that sense, like even in prison, you know, he's like 2 years away. Like he's only 2 years in prison.
He doesn't have, I mean, it's
Which-
a long time, but not like that long compared to other people.
But then I
there.
think like when he runs away, like it's like near the end.
There's
feel
like,
I
of
feel
his
like it's,
sentence.
yeah,
Well,
like I feel like it's.
I mean, that's the interesting thing about his character is that I don't think he cares. Like,
No.
I thought it seemed like he was having a grand old time in prison until he got kind of like bored, I guess. I don't know. And then he was just like, all right, I'm going to try and leave, and it seemed like his character just kind of had like an apathy about life in general. Like he was just doing whatever shit he wanted to all the time, pretty much. He's like, oh, I'll go to jail. All right. And he's like, oh, I'll eat 50 eggs. Yeah, sure, whatever. And then he's like talking to God at some point. He's like, you don't care if I live or die or whatever. Like, I'm just sitting here talking to myself.
Well, he's kind of, I don't know, like in that vein of like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I feel like this story is also kind of like somebody who has been like failed in a sense by the system, because like when his mother dies, they're like, oh, your mom died. Sorry, we got to throw you in the box for like a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because you might run away.
You might have the idea that you might try to go to her funeral. Like, we can't have that happen, so we're just going to punish you preemptively.
I will say, up until the middle of the movie, basically until his mom dies, they kind of the movie kind of paints prison as like a half party almost. Like they're just like sitting around shooting the shit, like doing whatever the fuck they want to do when they're not like on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Like, they would just, like, were smoking cigs and, like, bringing banjos in and, like, fighting. They would fight every Saturday. Like, they were like, oh, if you have any problems with anyone, just fight.
Well, only if you had something to fight about.
It's just so weird.
No horseplay, or you end up in the box. Except for Saturdays.
Yeah, then you can just box it out until some dude almost dies.
Yeah.
I love that Dragline's character just, like, completely 180s on Luke. Just because Luke won't go down in that fight.
He earned his respect.
Like,
yeah,
he was like, I'm just gonna like whoop the shit out of you.
This
Luke
fucking smart ass.
And then like immediately after that, he's like,
Luke's my best friend.
Let's play some cards.
Yeah,
you bluffed him. Cool hand, Luke. Got him.
I was like, oh, he said the name. He said the movie title.
You're my buddy. In fact, I'm gonna be your egg coach. Come on, let me weirdly massage your belly for a couple minutes.
Can I offer you an egg in this trying time?
It was so...
Can I offer you this 50th egg in this trying time?
It was so weird how he's like, immediately like after that, like he gives him the nickname or whatever, and then they become buddies, and he's like, my boy can eat anything. Name it. He's a trash can, the human dumpster, and he's like 50 eggs. He's like, my boy can do it. I was like, are we still talking about Luke?
And he was like, dog, he's like, you couldn't have said anything like 35 eggs or like 39 eggs. He's like, I don't know. 50 just sounded like a cool, like a round number.
But the one thing I like, and it's kind of subtle, kind of not, during the egg eating scene, is like Luke's struggling, and then he's like, oh, all the money's on the table, and then he just sits up and grabs like eggs. Like he was specifically baiting them to just like, come on, let me just hustle a little bit more where you guys think I can't do it. All the money's on the table, and then I'm going to eat the fuck out of these eggs.
He almost didn't make it. It was a close one. It was a close one at the end.
Well, and then they became like loan sharks, basically.
Yeah, after
like,
they had
all the money in prison.
You need to borrow some money?
Come to us.
You returning or borrowing?
I'll give you 2 to my 1. How much? $1. Oh, pff.
I feel like this movie did not like... I don't know. It's another weird one where it's like semi like humorous at points.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it doesn't.
Kind
Paul
of a
Newman
dramedy.
just
It doesn't
like that. I think, in a lot of his roles,
Like it doesn't set itself up like that. I feel like I was like, okay, it's kind of going to be serious. Like he's going to be in prison, and some of the descriptions I read were like, oh, like his Nazi like handlers or whatever, like whatever prison guards, whatever they're called.
Boss.
handlers.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I was expecting them to just be like hard asses the entire time, and then it was kind of like lighthearted, and really the scene where they're like on the ditch and the lady's like washing the car.
Oh my god,
was just so out of left field.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna go to this weird sex.
When she was like putting her chest against the window, I like audibly groaned. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Not that way. God damn it. I was just like,
keep your secrets.
I was like, really? Like, really? Where did this even come from? This is so weird.
Do you guys want to know what's especially gross about that?
Oh no.
They took 3 days to film that scene.
Why?
They spent 3 days with this woman
Oh.
washing the car and herself with a soapy sponge.
Oh my god.
Just 1960s things.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's not great.
But anyways, this movie is full of religious symbolism. There's religious symbolism out the wazoo.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's very religious in like the undertones.
The one that I didn't even catch it until we finished the egg scene and Luke is laying on the table and he's just full out in like a cross
in the
position.
cross,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
his like feet literally the exact same way and everything. Yeah.
There's another scene earlier on where he's got like he's outside working and then it cuts to him and the sun's just perfectly behind him so it looks like he has a disc halo.
And he's shirtless, like Jesus was a lot.
Yeah, Jesus never wore a shirt.
Jesus was definitely suns out, guns out.
Jesus was ripped most of the time.
Jesus is like my southern uncle.
Just never, always shirtless.
Always shirtless. Just loves sandals. Never shaves or grooms. He's weird.
Oh my god.
Is he Jesus?
Died for our sins.
He might
you know.
be Jesus. He died once, but he was fine 3 days later.
Medically, they said he was dead, but 3 days later, he was just like, I'm good.
The 50 eggs thing, when he had to eat 50 eggs. There's also 50 prisoners. It's supposed to be like an allegory for him absorbing their sins.
Really? That's interesting. That one seems.
I'll hit you with another
That
one.
one I was not gonna catch.
So his
Yeah.
That one I was like, is 50 a big number in the Bible? Is there an egg scene in the Bible?
You know that scene where Jesus turned all of the eggs into sinners?
so Luke itself is the name of an apostle, but
Yes, an apostle.
Luke's prison number 37. Had to look this one up. In the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 37, for with God nothing shall be impossible. So
Wow.
that's in there.
And at the end, he like basically died like a martyr's death. Like at the end, he like got shot in the neck, which I feel like anyone could have seen coming at that point in time.
He died a free man.
And he died like smiling, or whatever, and like
That he was smiling that Luke smile. That
And I-
smile.
And I assume the red light at the end was like Luke's dead, right? Like it turns from green to red, which I interpreted to be like he's gone.
Yeah, he's a dead boy. They
Yeah.
took him back to the prison hospital and let him croak
Over
on
and-
the way.
So
Over
what's
an
up with
hour
the?
away.
Why'd they smash the glasses? I don't know if I got that part. I know they're the guards' glasses, but I don't get why they like.
So
did
if you
that.
noticed in the last scene when they're all like kind of sitting around after and telling the story, it's a different line boss.
Oh.
So I
Okay.
think it's maybe supposed to symbolize kind of like a change, like in
Okay.
the way that maybe the prisoners are treated or like the way that things are ran because that guy is gone.
Okay.
I feel so bad for the first guy who gets sent to the box in the movie, who's just like, if you give me $1, I'll give you a broom duty. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay.
Oh,
So the guy's like, hey, I made an arrangement to get broom duty. And he tries to hand him the tool. And he's like, no, I'm not supposed to be in the ditch. I have broom duty. It's like, grab the fucking tool and go. And then at the end, it's like, I heard you were backsassing. He's like, well, no, I was told in the box. It's just like, oh, you poor bastard.
They're like, he
Duped.
should have known there's no broom duty. There's no broom.
He was duped.
Which of those pots do you think they shit in? The bigger one or the smaller one?
The one with the lid.
You think so?
Gotta be.
I would, because
You gotta keep the
then you
scent
can
in.
keep the scent away.
Yeah.
Gotta keep that stank locked in.
Right. That place probably smelled awful.
Trust me, lids don't keep the stink in.
Trust you? Do you have first-hand knowledge on this?
Why are you saying to trust you? Why is that the response?
Zach has no toilets at his house. It's only pots and pans.
Just go through a new set of Rachel Ray every week.
Why Rachel Ray?
Cheap-
Some jobs.
it's cheaper
It's
than
the
a water
Kohl's
bill.
cash.
Just keep buying them with more Kohl's cash.
Hell
It's an
yeah.
infinite money glitch. Just buy Rachel Ray pots, get Kohl's cash, buy more Rachel Ray pots, get more Kohl's cash.
My quads are elite.
Yeah,
from
no,
all
he's
this
not
squatting.
using the Coles cash though. Like he's keeping the Coles cash because
He's saving it.
the world explodes. Like
That
Is
will
that
the
gonna
new
be the
currency.
Coles
currency?
cash is going to be currency. Yeah.
But that doesn't make any sense. They
For
expire.
wiping?
Wait, you
No,
wipe with
Kohl's
Kohl's
cash.
cash? It's useful.
Yeah,
Nah,
for wiping.
Not when you have as much as Zach has.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's all
Pablo has
expired.
to borrow
Cash
with Kohl's
millionaire.
cash.
You have millions of
Zach
dollars
Zach
buried.
is like the Jeff Bezos.
I mean, you have
of
millions
Cole's
of
Cash.
dollars in Kohl's Cash buried around the continental U.S., but you don't know where it is.
Like a squirrel.
Right, like Pablo Escobar.
He's like DB Cooper of Cole's Cash.
You know, shitting in Rachel Ray pots and jumping out of planes with money. Good old ZB
DB
Cooper.
You don't just like throw the pots away. You can sell them on like Facebook Marketplace.
Give him
Yeah, I
a
mean,
quick
you can
hose
get
down.
Reused or like after you clean them out?
So do you sell them as
Refurbished.
cooking utensils, or do you sell them as like a specialty item?
Oh,
He doesn't ask.
it's up to that man. Some people are into that.
What I'm saying is, I feel like you could sell them either way.
Yeah, higher price but lower volume. It's a constant struggle when I'm doing my taxes.
Oh, you put this on your taxes.
Yeah, it's a business
Yep.
expense.
He's double
Oh,
dipping.
so this is a whole
he
business
gets the
you've
tax.
concocted.
He gets the tax write-off and the Kohl's Cash.
He's really
That's
put
the Ponzi
all
scheme.
of this into the bit. Like, wow, this is crazy.
Anyways,
Zach, if you want to sponsor the podcast, I'm sure we'd love to do some copy.
Can we? So I don't want to spoil any of Zach's trivia, but can we talk about Paul Newman for a second?
yeah, if
Because
you want
I
to,
wanna
he's an
talk-
attractive guy.
How about him?
So I don't know if you know, he overcame some great odds to become famous because he was born in Ohio.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding, but no, for real. Like, if I'm glad I wanted to watch a Paul Newman movie because I haven't seen many. I think I've seen Butch Cassidy, but like he just like lived like an insane life. Like he was an actor, director, a race car driver. He started Newman's own
salad dressing
the company.
maker?
He started with salsa, but it expanded into salad
sorry.
dressings, where all the profits from that go to charity. And on top of all of that, he was number 19 on Nixon's enemy list for his
Why?
for his opposition against the Vietnam War and the support of like his opponent or something like that.
Is Nixon's enemy list published somewhere?
Did
Yes,
I was
on
going to say, did
Wikipedia.
Nixon have like a? He had it written on
Yep.
like a
Yep.
piece of notebook paper, and the teacher found it.
Yep. Basically, I mean, well, if by
Paul
teacher
Newman
found it,
gets my ire.
if by that you mean was likely subpoenaed, yes. Likely found via warrant. It is on there. So I'm looking on it, and his enemy
Watergate
list consists
reporter,
of
Paul Newman. Those two.
Arnold Picker, Alexander Barkin, Edwin Guthman. I don't recognize many of these names. I do recognize Representative John Conyers from Michigan. There's actually a fair amount of people of color on here, which is not surprising for Nixon because he was a raging racist. He was also a vocal supporter of gay rights and same-sex marriage when it was not popular at all. He tried to get somebody to unseat Joe Lieberman, which is pretty sweet because Joe Lieberman sucked. Pretty cool guy. That's all.
Yeah, Paul Newman was dope.
He's a dope guy who did dope shit.
Shout out Paul Newman.
And he makes pretty good, one of my favorite salad dressings. So it's pretty
Which
cool.
one?
Ooh.
Trying to remember. I think it's like olive oil and vinegar or something like that. Is
Oh,
that what
yeah,
it's
that's a
called?
tough recipe.
I don't remember. But it's got other stuff in it. I don't know. I don't make stuff on my own, dog. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, if you ever want to, I can send you a recipe for that one.
Or I can buy the bottle for like $3 at the store.
You're
I don't
right.
know.
You're right.
Or you could just own a bottle of olive oil and
Okay,
a
it's not
bottle
just
of
those
vinegar.
two. It's also got
Costs you like
spices in it. All right,
$1.50.
it's a whole thing. All right, I don't remember exactly what the flavor is off the top of my head, but it's that and it's good.
We're gonna hit up some ads. We're gonna come back, and Zach will take us through some trivia. You know we love saving the turts. You know Cam hates fucking paper straws.
Paper straw song.
Sock.
I will say that paper straw technology has improved since I last shat on paper straws. I have used a couple since I've been able to go out more recently due to being vaccinated, and
That's what they were doing the whole time while we were inside. They were just inventing better paper straws.
I have seen also not paper straws, but it seems like they're compostable plastic straws or something. Like
You're talking about the
like,
ones
they
that
feel
are made out of
different.
like agave or whatever.
I have no idea what the composition of these straws are. I'm just, but they are different.
I'm not
than
a
the
straw
normal ones you
expert.
see. But you're the expert, Dylan.
But I do know a good glass straw when I see one, you know?
Yes. I will say for being at home and where maybe you like straws in your fruity margaritas, or you like straws to mix with your, old fashions or whatever. Having these straws around the home is really nice. No, not constantly like throwing things away, or you don't have to keep buying straws all the time. Like you just buy a couple and then you're good.
And if you want cocktail picks or muddlers, they have that too. There's many colors. He's getting into like designs. So like the pride flag, he puts it on like the side of the straw. He's got hearts. He's got critters. It's like you get a piece of art along with a straw. Little multi-use.
Oh yeah, he has critter straws, which see a dolphin, a salamander. That salamander looks intricate. That is impressive.
Grab some glass straws from Surfside Sips. Use promo code cocktails and classics spelled out for 20% off. We get a little kickback from that. And you get to save some money on some glass straws, and they should last you a long time. Dishwasher safe. They're pretty sturdy. Just don't drop them on the floor like me, like a big idiot. You have to buy more. This is the part of the show where Zach takes over and puts us through some trivia. Zach, what do you got for us on Cool Hand?
We've been running back some cocktails and classics. You like that? So I figured I would ask you guys like a real cocktails and classics themed question that goes along with the movie. Paul Newman's stunt of eating 50 eggs was repeated on what MTV show in the early 2000s? A. Jackass, B. Viva La Bam, or C. Wild Boys?
Oh my God. Jackass feels like a bait. Feels like exactly like something they would do, but Wild Boys is the precursor to Jackass, right?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
I think it was on at the same time. It was just Chris Pontius and Steve-O.
Steve-O.
Right. Okay. All right. That's what I thought.
But yeah, it was like sort of the like precursor, same thing before they all like got together.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I never watched it, but I think I've heard of it.
I think I'm gonna say Wild Boys.
I kind of want to say that too. I've never seen the clip, which makes me think it's Wild Boys. I don't know why they would have done that on Viva La Bam. It wasn't really that type of show, I don't think. Right?
I feel like Bam Margera doesn't know what Cool Hand Luke is, so.
Well, Viva La Bam was that. I
definitely.
mean, they did some pranks, but it was mostly on his
They
parents,
put an
right?
alligator in their bedroom.
Well, right. I get that they did that, but he mostly pranked their parents. You're not gonna like prank your parents by feeding them 50 eggs. That doesn't really like it's not really possible.
Eat all these eggs.
Right. It's not really possible for them to do that unless they're doing it to themselves, which is more in style of Jackass and the Wild Boys, I think. So I'm gonna go with Wild Boys as well.
Is it Uncle Phil that they make eat the 50 eggs in Viva La Bam?
Well, Uncle Phil's from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but his name was Phil.
His name is Phil
No,
Margera.
the
But he's
dad
not his
was
uncle.
Phil.
It's his dad.
Yeah, the dad was Phil. The
Uncle
son
was
was
it
Bam.
Uncle Vito?
Oh, Uncle Vito. Yeah, that's who you're thinking of.
I don't think it's Wild Boys, because Wild Boys was like, they went on like fucking nature shit. Like they went to different like places in the world. Like that was Pontius and Steve-O's whole thing.
And they ate eggs all over the
No,
world.
I think it was if Zach's making it cocktails and classics lore, it's got to be Taco La Bam.
That's true.
Yeah, you guys don't know what Wild Boys is, and just because Bam Margera hadn't seen the movie, fun fact, it's a fucking scripted reality TV show.
Well, yeah, I want to hear if it's Viva La
say
Bam.
that.
I want to hear the circumstances in which.
I
50
guarantee
eggs
you
were eaten.
it's probably like they fucking had a challenge to see who could eat the most fucking eggs to make themselves puke because haha comedy.
All right, is it Viva La Bam?
I love that you guys just wrote the new series pilot for the next Viva La Bam when Bam runs out of money. But it is Jackass.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
I just looked it up.
You mean
who ate 50 eggs? Who
you
did
mean
it?
currently now when Bam Margera's out of money?
Well, he's still suing Jeff Tremaine.
The three contestants were Preston, Chris Naratko, and Stephanie Hodge, who all sat on a bench in a park on a sunny day eating 150 hard-boiled eggs in front of
God.
referee Johnny Knoxville. Stephanie is the first one to throw up after just 3 eggs. Chris is next after 8 eggs, just 10 minutes into the contest. And then Preston soldiers on eating 16 eggs without once throwing up. Chris's vomit is becoming faster and thicker with a disgusting mix of scrambled egg green erupting from his stomach almost every time he eats an egg. Why is it like,
Why does it give you the rundown?
Preston makes it to 21 eggs.
That's pretty impressive, honestly. That's
On a
way
hot
more than
day?
any normal
Yeah.
human. Yeah, also in like the
That's-
worst conditions possible.
Yeah. The skit is continued later on, and the eggnog challenge,
Oh.
in which they all, it's Preston, Chris Naratko. I don't know
This
that
sounds
guy.
like fucking Kenny Rogers' Jackass. Do you guys ever see that skit on MTV
Yes.
or Mad TV?
Yeah.
Oh, talk about a classic. Just look up when the podcast is over, look up Mad TV, Kenny Rogers' Jackass. Thank me later.
All right. You guys want another egg question, or you want to go a different direction? How do you guys feel about your eggs?
Give
I
me
think,
the egg.
I think whatever your decision is, it'll be excellent.
Boo.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Give
Thank
me
you for
the
tuning into this week's episode of Cocktails and Classics. Tune in next week where we are not showing up ever again.
Question number 2. There's a 3-way tie, by the way.
Yeah, it's 0.
Question number 2. How many eggs do we see Paul Newman eat in the movie? A, 7, B, 17, or C, 27?
27 feels like too many, right? I'm going to go 17. 7 feels like too low, I guess, but only barely. I don't know. 17 does seem like a lot of eggs, though.
That's more than a dozen.
That is more than a dozen, yeah.
Wow.
Quick maths.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning 17 as well. I don't know. I feel like you don't see too many. But, well, I don't know. Because it felt like it goes pretty quickly at the beginning. And then it, like, slows down, and then they're just, like, shoving one in his mouth every few minutes. What was the third option? It was, like, 20-something, right?
27. 7, 17, 27.
I think I'm also going to say 17.
I'm gonna say 7. I feel like you only see him eat the first, like, maybe, like, 2, and then they, like, they're counting, and he slows down, he reaches up, and he grabs the one and puts it in his mouth. Like, the next one you see, he's at, like, 62.
Well, he only has to eat 50, so hopefully he's not at 62.
Or, not 60, maybe it was 32.
Yeah.
32. Yeah.
The correct answer was 17. So we got
Hey,
Cam and
nice.
Dylan on the board.
Suck it, Ben.
Fuck you, Ben.
Hey, sorry,
Oh.
I'm not just gonna hop on Cameron's answer every fucking time.
Ooh,
Got 'em.
called out.
Yeah, get
Called
your
out.
own
Hey,
answers,
I
Dylan,
said
you
Wild
big
Boys
dumb
first.
bitch.
But you knew I was thinking
Oh.
it.
Maybe you two wild boys should fucking pick different answers.
Hey, Bubby, I thought this was Team Billin.
Whoa, don't you bubby me. Don't you say that, don't you talk like that to me, bubby.
Question number 3. After one of Luke's escape attempts, Coco opens up a magazine that Dragline had hidden to see a hidden photo of Luke that was tucked inside. Directly across from the photo in the magazine is what? A hunter firing a rifle aimed directly at Luke's neck? B, a Barbasol ad? Or C, Joy Harmon half naked eating a Polish sausage? Joy Harmon was the actress who spent 3 days washing herself for the car wash scene.
I was going to say, I don't know who that is. Wow.
Well,
I hope it's not that
I hope
one.
it's not that. And I Barbasol ad? I think it'd be interesting if it was the hunter. So maybe I'll go hunter. I'm gonna say the hunter.
I am going to go the Barbasol ad. I'm gonna throw it back to our roots with Jurassic Park
Okay.
Oh wow, that's
and go Barbasol because I have absolutely no idea what was
You
on
an
think
old
there.
this is the Deep Cocktails and Classics classic.
Yes.
release the Jurassic cut.
It'll be available on OpenSea pretty soon.
We're gonna sell it as an NFT. You own the
Oh,
rights
yeah.
to it. Not the
Yeah,
not
you
the
can do
masters,
whatever
but
you want with it.
you own the rights to the cut of it. That specific cut of Jurassic Park.
I'm gonna say the Barbasol ad.
Nobody wanted to go Joy
No one
Harmon
went
half
for the
naked eating a
Polish
Polish
sausage. No,
I hope to God.
please not.
It is, believe it or not, a hunter firing
Nice.
a rifle aimed directly at Luke's
Okay.
neck. Hell of
Wow.
some foreshadowing there.
Foreshadowing. Dang.
You just have to pause it and pay attention, I guess.
Wow.
Congrats, Gam, for being a wiener.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you.
No one saw this movie before, so we're gonna get 4 fresh ratings, guys. What's your final your final rating? What do you give Cool Hand Luke?
Well, I think Paul Newman does a good job in the role. Movie's interesting enough. Did it like blow me away? No, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. The had some memorable quotes in it. I didn't honestly pick up on a lot of the Bible stuff, to be honest. That kind of went over my head when I was watching it. But once you guys pointed that out, it obviously makes a lot of sense. But anyway, I guess I'll give it like a 7. I thought it was decent. Like I said, I like Paul Newman in general. But yeah, I thought it was good.
I really enjoyed it. Not a big fan of the dog death. We kind of precursored that one. But just because I don't like harmed animals, I don't know. But the movie was really good. Like we said, not much happens, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I think Paul Newman as Luke and George Kennedy as Dragline, freaking fantastic together. Paul Newman's just so like charismatic, and I don't know, you just kind of like want him to succeed, even though like he's a criminal and like he's always making the wrong choice, basically. Real Uncut Gems vibes there, where you're rooting for him even though it's the wrong choice. It's really well shot. Conrad Hall's cinematography is amazing. I think you should see it if you have not. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one. Check it out, HBO Max.
I'll follow that up. I also gave the movie an 8 out of 10. Love the symbolism in this movie. I think this is one of Paul Newman's greatest. I mean, it's up there with Butch Cassidy is probably, at least in my opinion, his best.
Really? Not Slapshot?
Slapshot, man, top tier hockey sports movie. Maybe not Paul Newman's best though, you know? I feel like he was slightly better in Cool Hand Luke. It could have been the role though. I mean, this one's just Oscar bait. Is it? You know, like
Before Oscar bait was a thing.
you know. Yes, this is Paul Newman's Revenant. That bear attack in the
Wait,
middle.
who's Paul Newman in Cars?
He's the car.
I
He's
forgot
Lightning
about
McQueen.
that. I was gonna mention that. Damn it. Yeah, his last role on this earth was voicing in a car in Cars.
Anywho, great movie. I love the story of the anti-hero. The dude who kind of goes against the grain, and yet you still love him at the same time. I feel like this movie does a great job getting you to sympathize with this person who maybe you shouldn't. And Paul Newman, like I said, is fantastic in this one. So 8 out of 10.
This movie is really good. I think Paul Newman is a phenomenal actor. He is charming as hell. I think my wife was immediately smitten as soon as the movie. She's just like, wow, he's an attractive dude. Yeah, yep. So thank God
He's
She
dead.
audibly
Thank
groaned.
God she wasn't born. Thank God she wasn't born 50 years ago.
She probably wouldn't sleep with you either then, Ben.
Wow.
I think you're totally covered here.
No, I think this movie is just really good. The symbolism with religion. I also think it just kind of talks a lot about the idea of like a free spirit and everything like that, which for the fact that it came out in the late 60s around the beginning of the Vietnam era, you know, the whole free love, free spirit type thing, I thought was kind of an interesting thing that was kind of talked about in this movie. I love the dynamic between Luke and Dragline. Again, I think Dragline's fucking lines are just great in that southern Louisiana drawl. They're spoken with. Yeah, I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. Highly recommend it. I think it just shows why Paul Newman's just regarded as such an amazing actor. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Check out the Casker and Drizzly links below. Buy some alcohol, have it delivered directly to you. Buy some straws from Surfside Sips. Check us out next week as we watch Rudy for the start of football season. And as always, watch responsibly.